Hi guys, how are you doing? Hey, hey, hey. Fun to see everybody's faces. What's going on? Well, we're just waiting for Mike to hop on. I will just check in with you guys. What's going on? Anything new to talk about?
I have a lot to talk about.
You have a lot to talk about. That's great. What's going on?
So I just came back from the Taxi Road rally. Well, I'm not back yet. I'm still at my friend's apartment. But I was at the Taxi Road rally. So one of the songs that I made was actually played at the panel. And I don't know if you're familiar with it. Susan Dolan, one of the supervisors, was like raving over it. So
Oh,
one guy actually said, "You see how much better that sounds than than the ones that came before." And I'm not like I wouldn't. I'm just quoting what people are telling me.
yeah.
Um, and then I managed to pull over another guy from Hollywood Tracks who's trying to push stuff to Fox Sports to get some stuff to get another song to him that he listened to for like 40 seconds. I was like, "Yep, send it to me," and he's gonna pitch it to Fox Sports. So
Wow, that's huge. Those are
thank
really
you, thank you, thank you.
awesome wins. I love that. I love the comparison. We're like, see, now that's quality.
Right, right.
That's
So I'm a
awesome.
million thanks to you guys. So thank you very much.
Well, you keep doing the hard work. It's up to you guys. And I mean, showing up here, being here, turning in the songs. We have so many songs that we're going through from the assignment from this last um, month. And it's just a testament to how you guys keep showing up and how you're taking it so seriously. So it's really amazing.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. Um, let's see. I'm just making sure I'm not missing him here. He's not here yet. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to share while we're waiting for Mike to hop on? No, we're good. All right. Let me just get everything in order here. Okay, so I have 5 people signed up, and I was trying to figure out if some of these people have shared before. Struck, have you shared before, or was that just another time that we heard your song? I can't remember. Um, I want to make sure everybody has a chance to go at least one time before we share twice. And there's Mike. I see him. Let me unmute you. There we go.
Hey
Great.
guys,
Hi, Mike.
how's everyone doing?
Good. Everybody's on mute, so
All right.
they're all here and present. So these are all songwriters, talented people, really pushing towards getting their music in sync and trying to learn the ins and outs. And really excited to hear from you. You have a really interesting background, and would love to hear. I guess maybe just start by telling us a little bit about who you are and how you started in the licensing, ad, music supervisor world.
Yeah, sure. So, hey everyone, I'm Mike Ladman. I'm the music supervisor at Droga5 New York advertising agency. So our clients are Google, Under Armour, Chase, CoverGirl. We did a bunch of Hillary work, MailChimp, Blue Apron, on, Pure Protein, and a bunch of others. I've been here for about a year and a half. Before here, I was at McCann for just shy of 7 years doing the same thing. Music producer over there with clients like we have Microsoft and USPS and MasterCard. That was L'Oreal. A bunch of big ones. Verizon, the whole world of Verizon craziness. And then, yeah, I came here to start the music department, which has been a really interesting experience. McCann, I don't know if you know or not, is one of the biggest, oldest ad agencies. If you watch Mad Men, they made fun of McCann quite a bit because a disgruntled worker actually became a writer for the show for a bit. And McCann was cool because they had the first ever in-house music producer. I'm blanking, the Billy Davis music room we did. I Want to Teach the World to Sing, and all that. And then now at Droga, I'm one of the first music supervisors here to start it. Much younger, just kind of cooler, hipper company. And I got my start. I was kind of a songwriter, kind of like all you guys. I was a super guitar nerd. 5th grade, I picked up guitar, took lessons for 8 years, had long hair, and just listens to like Petrucci and Satriani and Vai and just like prog rock. You know, if you're not shredding at like 120, you're like not good. And then was in bands from 7th grade on, and then senior year of high school, my good band, the singer left, which was a bummer because we'd sell over 100 tickets a show, and we're like these little punk 16, 17-year-olds. But he left, and I was like, oh shit, I got to get a job now. I never thought I'd be in an office. I always thought I'd just be the rock star. And then once he left, I ended up going to University of Delaware. I'm from Jersey. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Worked at an independent record store for 3 years. Became a vinyl junkie. My floor is still disappearing as my vinyl collection grows. And then my stepsister is in advertising and older. And I always like just being creative and making things. And I thought, I guess I could be a copywriter. You go into the office at like 10, 11, you wear jeans, there's a bar in the office, it's creative. Like I could stomach that. And then I applied to be a copywriter for an internship at McCann. And they really liked me, and they kind of just said, you have no experience writing whatsoever, but your email is jhendricks@udel, and you're at a record store and you play guitar. Why don't you do the music producer internship? And I was like, I had no idea that was even a job. You know, I tried to figure out what music supervisors were in high school and made a MySpace to reach out to Randy Poster and some other people who did movies that I liked, because I thought, man, it'd be cool to pick a movie soundtrack. But never thought about who picks music for ads. And so I got that internship and kind of finally had this outlet for this kind of encyclopedic music knowledge that until that point was kind of useless, except for recommending records to people in my little indie store. Kind of worked my ass off, was good at it, and then they hired me after school, and I was there about 7 years until coming over to Droga.
Wow, that's an incredible story. I love how like your background as a musician and record collector helps inform music supervision now, and that you're I didn't realize that Droga was just starting in-house music, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. We've grown like almost doubled in about 2 years, year and a half or two. We're now at 600. In 2 years, this year and a half or two ago, it was only 300. So
wow. That's huge. To like move offices too?
They moved earlier on. I think we've been in this office for 4 or 5 years. I'm not sure, but yeah, we keep kind of taking over floors. And unfortunately, I'm in this office. I kind of got put downstairs just because I need an office. There's a lot of open floor plans, and we kind of lawyered up on one of our floors. So I got booted down to this windowless room, but you can't see. I just got a full piano in my office as of yesterday, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's super cool. You can have an office.
We'll be bringing in a piano teacher once or twice a month for anyone who wants to kind of sign up and learn, which will be cool.
Oh, that's so cool. That's great.
Also, I saw these chats. Am I supposed to be responding, or are they for everyone? I didn't see. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can just know that people are...
here we go. Cool. Sorry. I've never Zoomed before, everyone.
Yeah, it's a really fun... Yeah, you'll just be able to see like people engaging and
cool.
Back to what you're saying. And then if people have questions, they'll post them here, and we'll have people go ahead and post your questions here. I know people have done their research on you, so they have specific questions. And then I just want to, kind of give like a broad overview of how have you seen, since you've been in it for 7, 8, 9 years, 10 years, I guess, really, like how have you seen it really change for maybe the independent artists and also just music in general in advertising? Yeah,
so I think there's a bunch of stuff for that question, and also just being at McCann and being super junior, and then to coming to Droga, which is a much different agency. Both are great, but very different. McCann, the big beast, that's kind of been around forever, and Droga, the new hot shop that, I mean, it kind of, not to sound cocky, but what?
You guys have huge campaigns, like.
Well, yeah, it's sort of small. Comparative to a McCann, there's no holding company. We're independent. So, I mean, Droga wins. We follow advertising. Droga wins Agency of the Year every year, and it's kind of the unique standout shop. So I think when I first started, it was a really interesting time because that's right when licensing started to become a thing and become cool. It was, the Feist 1, 2, 3, 4 Apple ad came out, a couple years earlier. The Phoenix 1901 Cadillac ad was a thing. Justice, I think that was also, Genesis was in that Cadillac ad. It was kind of becoming like cool, and the word indie bands kind of meant something. It was these smaller bands that were cool in the record stores, and I think for brands were kind of cheapish. You can get a song for 30 to 50K for like a campaign, maybe 100K. Now any band or artist with I think that much clout or that established is looking for much bigger fees because people are now realizing that that first song that you license is kind of the big one, and once it's licensed, people are a little more trepidatious to maybe go after it again. Like I know if Apple touches something, we don't want to go near it. For Google, and me personally as a supervisor, it's not as cool. Like you kind of want to be the first one. Like we're just as hungry for you guys, independent songwriters and artists, as I think you guys are eager to get us your music because we love breaking artists. There's, we did Prince for Google and that was amazing, and Redbone, Come and Get Your Love. And there's merit to those iconic songs, but I'm still a music fan, so I love introducing the world to new music. Like I was always a friend giving people new music that I thought that they would like, and at the record store turning people onto new music. So now I just get to do it on a much larger scale. So I think there's a lot more value on music where publishers are demanding higher fees even for indie artists. So I think it's cool, and I think brands are now more and more appreciating the value of the cachet of a band. It's kind of a two-way street where a band and label gets all this free media that they would never be able to get. A couple $1 million media buy they probably couldn't afford. So I kind of say advertising can be kind of like the new radio, how people discover music and find music. And I think now instead of before, 9 years ago, I said, hey, this band is going to be big. It was just a guy saying that, with some label support. Now I think with Spotify plays and, tracking, streaming, you can kind of see the trajectory of an artist a little clearer. So there's some kind of more numbers and facts behind artists and trends where we can say, hey, they're going to be big because of X, Y, and Z, and that's why we should take a risk on this unknown artist instead of just licensing Imagine Dragons or some other band that writes for Sync someone that everyone knows already. Let's try and do a new sound. And I think that's what's really fun about Droga is that we like to do what everyone else isn't doing. So if it's like the number one thing, and I think all of our briefs are unexpected and it shouldn't sound like an ad. It really is pretty cool and special to be at a place where they value film craft. Everyone calls it, the film and all that. And a lot of the things we look for it's interesting. Our clients like Google, they're tech, they always want new. And we always kind of pitch them older stuff because there's going to be a spot coming out with, it's a new song, but it's featuring a soul single, a soul singer, and a cover of a James Brown song that's sampled, which was kind of a crazy thing to clear. But if it's just, a phone spinning around in a circle dancing, to us that's kind of cold and sterile. So I think we like the warmth of a real song with some real instruments and a blend of stuff. I think most of our briefs say no drop. I think it's just because EDM has been done so much, we don't want to go there. For Under Armour, I'd licensed a gospel track. They didn't want a hip-hop beat because that's what you'd expect and what you've seen 1,000 times on other sports brands. So I think it's really fun because usually we don't want Ariana Grande or top 40. And even for known artists, it's like, what's the B side? What's the C side? What's the number 5 biggest song instead of the most obvious choice where it feels familiar, but not like, oh, of course that it's been licensed 1,000 times. So I think there's kind of merits to both, but I think it's fun because I had my work iTunes and kind of my personal music and vinyl collection. And now it's like, they don't want the work, this stuff that sounds like I think earlier on, like, when I was first starting, there was like Tim Myers and people who were just writing stuff it sounded so perfect for ads. It was great. And that's been done so much that I think sometimes you can lose the authenticity of just a great song and a writer. And that if it's too perfect, which I know sounds like how could it be too perfect, but if everything is too polished and literal, I think it feels too manufactured. So I think we like stuff that is real, and we do obviously create songs for ads with composers and artists like you guys. But we try to have it come from a place that's a real song. And if it's just tweaking one word or here or there to have it fit, or adding, maybe a lift here, that kind of seems to be the sweet spot for us.
That's so inspiring to hear. I think probably for everybody here, because everybody's trying to figure out what's the equation, and it's not about figuring out the equation. It's about doing what you do really well and getting being authentic in your artistry. I mean, there's certain things that work better for ads, but that's really great to hear. Do you guys look at, we've talked about a lot in the class, like how there's so much opportunity for independent artists because of the things that you've talked about. Do you guys look at an artist's socials numbers ever when you're looking?
All the time. We just sent a deck to client to just sent with numbers of here's how many, YouTube, Instagram, whatever followers. Like we send that a deck to sell through why we think this artist
would be
a couple million for all that. So they're obviously really big, but they're still not a household name. But to show that, but yeah, I think we often do. And there's times, I've licensed people from SoundCloud that I just found online for Microsoft, and might have been for Microsoft twice, where I just found tracks. Wow. Actually, no, in the new Google campaign, there's I heard it's a band Too Many Zoos. It's horns, it's spot questioning. If you guys have done your proper, stalking of me before this, my website is just mikeladman.com, and it's up there. It's also unavoidably always on TV. But that was actually, I think I got it from Hype Machine, was pitching it for months, and then a publisher picked it up. And they were actually just a subway band. And that was a spot where I pitched a track that was great for a lot of things. And then it worked for this, and they actually had a scene where it's supposed to be, it's like, not everyone could be famous, or anyone can be famous. And then we put into a question mark, whatever it was, and they had some random amateur person in there. And I said, let's put a video of these guys in there. Let's show them in a subway. And now they're soundtracking the launch of Google Pixel. Which is kind of cool when it can kind of come full circle like that.
Incredibly cool. It gives a really great platform for artists to discover like that.
And I think their sound was unique, and I think it's tough because there's so much music all the time that it's tough to do something that hasn't been done. Mm-hmm. But they basically kind of it's just 2 horn players and a drummer. And they essentially, the structure of their songs is very EDM, but they do it with all real instruments. So it sounds fresh. It doesn't sound as cold as just a straight EDM track. And I think EDM track has a place. We've done a Mattress Firm spot that was very, that was kind of the point, was to kind of make fun of iPhone commercials. So I have licensed all that. And McCann, I've worked with Ultra a lot and have licensed a bunch of that. Should I answer questions as they come? I'm sorry, I have 2 different monitors, so I'm looking here.
I can help.
Otherwise, you get to see your profile. So sorry, everyone.
You don't have to be responsible for reading them. I can tell you what they are. But if you catch them, feel free to. Basically, wanted to know specifically what are you checking out their Facebook on their social medias?
It depends on what. I mean, when I'm looking for new music, I'm not looking at any of the numbers. Like there was one guy who only had a couple hundred followers on SoundCloud before we put him in a Microsoft 10 launch. For other stuff, if it's depending on what the client is looking for, they want to see big numbers, which is the case I'm on now. And we'll show them all of that, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, because we want to show the outreach. But I think when I'm looking for just what's a great song, a great song's a great song. It doesn't matter if it came from the subway or from you guys or whatever. So I'm not looking at numbers for that. The youngest is, it was I think the 16-year-old. She's actually signed to Cobalt. I'm blanking on her name, but we put her in a MasterCard spot, her music. And then for the Google print spot, I mean, they're known, but we put the father, daughter, I think it might be Skylar. Yeah.
So do you feel like, I know that you're not sure what your answer would be, that there are trends musically? I feel like that question comes up a lot with our students. Like, what is it that you need right now? And I feel like, it's really across the board, but can you speak maybe specifically, like, are there some musical trends that you feel like are coming up or you've seen a lot more of recently?
Yeah, I think there definitely are trends. I think they're less, I find it less now as it used to be. I think like earlier on, it was all Phoenix, it was like electro, clean guitars and electric synths. And then it went to all the, ukulele, glockenspiel, hand clap, whistles, which I think most advertising people are very not into anymore, to kind of put it politely. Just cause, again, it's just because it's been done so much, so we don't want that. I mean, there's certain tracks that always work to picture, like Macklemore Can't Hold Us played to death, but the tempo and the piano, it checks a lot of boxes of inspirational, and it was done in a way that I think before that was kind of fresh, right? Because usually that you look towards U2-y, Killers-y, Coldplay rock tracks, and I think that track did it with a bit more of a hip-hop thing that was fun. Yonsei Go Do was a great track, and that still is interesting. It kind of has uplifting, but it's kind of these weird flutes and stuff, and this really hard, dirty hitting kick drum. But I mean, Sigur Rós has always created that beautiful music. Right now, I think it's so obvious when you see Black Skinhead was a reference for a cut. That is still comes up a lot. Less so here just because it's been done so much. Right now, it's fun because if it's a trend here, we don't go near it. It sounds like the EDM trap thing is kind of dying down for our world, which is cool. For us, I think it is that word unexpected. So much is done, and everyone's trying to think what people used before. And I think a lot of that is stuff which is fun for me because it's always been like kind of digging into those gems of weird old stuff. Sorry. I put this in my calendar. People are still trying to get me meetings. I'm just telling them no. So sorry if I look away to do that. I think it's kind of the unexpected thing. I think Breaking Bad and Master of None are doing things that like Scorsese and Tarantino always did, of finding these old, weird, like obscure little nuggets of tracks. And to me, that's what's unexpected. Like an old track from like the 60s or 20s talking about being happy on a sunny day. The mixture of, I think, the scratchy fidelity and just like, there's just something so innocent and strange about it, is that it feels cool, as opposed to someone with a perfectly recorded acoustic guitar singing about the perfect day can feel overproduced and cheesy and addy. So I think there's that, to me, is kind of becoming the new thing, is these old kind of nuggets, these old deep cuts, dusty 45s, which sitting in your seats, you probably didn't write a song in the 20s or 30s in Nigeria. So I know that's kind of a tricky thing, but I think the takeaway from that is that it's kind of the imperfections in those music that make it cool. It's the kind of scratchiness, or it's, yeah, that one weird instrument. You know, it's Apple used, what's his name? William Oleander, which I think most record geeks and stuff really liked, because it's this dude from Africa who somehow had all this access to this electronic gear, and like he probably wasn't really great at using it. He kind of made it work, but it's when stuff is used wrong kind of is when it's, I think, sort of interesting. I think the EDM songs that kind of blew up, or there is that one, blanking on the name, but there was like a saxophone solo in it, and I think that made it human and seemed interesting. So I think it's those blends of genres and instrumentations is where you can create that uniqueness now. And for covers of older songs, it all depends about, I think, the lyrics a little bit. I think that's another trend that I think trailers have done so much. I think it was originally done for budgetary reasons of you can get a known song and then you break MFN to do your own version, and a song that's $1 million now becomes a bit more palatable for a client. I mean, Apple actually just used a Kinks Strange Effect on You cover that I've been pitching. I'm always very competitive about, and friends with my contemporaries, but always competitive because I want to be the one to do it first, and I'm a massive Kinks fan. So I saw they use that, so I was kind of bummed. But I think that was one of the ones where the cover was better. I think it's not better. It's just different. It worked better for sync. It kind of had a mysteriousness. So I think it depends on the song. I think making a song dark and brooding doesn't really make sense. I think if it's a good song that no one knows, I think it's fine. I think it could work. It kind of depends on the creative. Right. It's tough for all this stuff because there's not one clear answer. Every spot, every creative team and client is different.
What kind of advice would you say? I want to hop into songs too that you can listen to, but that if you could give like a couple, speaking from an artist yourself and your background in music and now seeing the other side, how would you say is the best way for, or some different ways that independent artists can kind of get through the door? You know, they're creating this music, they're trying to figure out how to like get it to the right people, and start making headway. What would be some of your insight to that?
Yeah, so I think every supervisor is really trying to listen to and ingest as much music as humanly possible. I'd say probably half my emails is kind of music blasts, and really try and download, get everything in iTunes, and there's just not enough time in the day or year to listen to everything. So I always say it's, catch the moon. It's just get it to publishers, people we trust. So it's just one way to kind of shrink down the entire internet full of music, is to have trusted partners who we have the rights, to have insurance and indemnities that we need, that can speak for the rights holders. They can speak to any samples or anything like that we may need to know, put us in touch with writers. So I think that's it, and we really lean on their curation and tastes for that. So I think finding the right publisher or label is the best way for us. I get a ton of LinkedIn requests, and I just, unfortunately, I try to respond. People just send me music. If I can download it, I will. I respond most to college kids, to be honest, or established publishers or something like that, just because college kids, I just got my start in college, and I don't know, just a thing. I'm super lucky and fortunate to be in this seat. But I think it is getting it to someone who has a reputation, and I know that's much easier said than done, and I haven't done that myself, so I know it's easier to preach than practice. But I think most supervisors will tell you that just getting random emails of music is just tough to get through it. We'll try and download it, but we just don't know what we're dealing with. Do you have insurance? And then I also say, I actually did a panel, a Brooklyn vegan panel a couple weeks ago. What is click? Oh, sorry. A little programmer, sorry, is making noise. I was saying it's kind of a 3-tiered thing. If you're here, you don't need that, but it's like, it's kind of doing a bit of stalking. It's like, who has sounds and artists that you like? I think go towards those people. Yeah. And then you know, stroking a little bit of ego. Hey, I loved your work on this. You know, instead of just getting a cold generic email blast, it's saying, hey, it's just showing. And I know there's a lot of people, so it is a little more homework. But like something that says, you know what I do. When people say, here, I have a great song about potato chips. It's like, cool. I don't have a potato chip brand, and I haven't in a decade. So like that sort of stuff. Or if people say, I have the perfect song for you. That's like little 2% just like, hey, here's a great song like this, or like kind of those genre things for me to get a handle of. And then there's that fine line between, I think, persistence and pestilence, which I know is very tough because for you guys, this is your baby. You wrote this song. You worked on it for a month. You had co-writes. It's blood, sweat, and tears and that go into it. And you just want to get that instant feedback, which is why this is so cool that I get to do this with you guys. But if you get an email next day, hey, just my song, it's kind of a major turnoff because we just have so many songs to go through.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of finding that line of every 2 weeks, like, hey, I just did this. Check out this awesome thing. And it's a lot of it is timing, where there's times when I need whatever, an Ethiopian song, and then I get an email, here, Ethiopian jazz pops up in my blast. I'm going to listen to that right now. So there definitely is a bit of luck and timing that goes on, and that's how some songs have gotten in. One of our Google Pixel ads was, you know, old Motown, and one of those songs ended up being in our Pixel thing, which was really cool.
Yeah, and that insight is so on point, I think, for things that we talk about and just keeping everybody inspired here. And the idea of insurance, they're asking you what is meant by insurance, and it just that like a pitching company is going to have insurance to kind of cover their side of things if something doesn't go right. And so you guys are dealing with us knowing that. And so there's just another level of assurance there rather than just working with an independent artist.
Yeah, and I think for any bespoke music, original scores, compositions like that, independent composers, we won't work with anyone unless they have E&O insurance, errors and emissions insurance. And it's just a non-starter for, I think, most agencies, unless you're like a Max Richter, someone huge who probably has it or works under studios, will work through other partners for it. But I usually guide those composers to go to music houses and work under their insurances. And the reason is it's very expensive. It's like 30 to 50 grand a year for it. So that's quite a lot, obviously. So that's, and for any agencies, we kind of push indemnity. It's pushed from, you know, client to us, and we kind of shovel it off to our vendors. It's kind of the chain, and it's a kind of a non-starter.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like it's really aligned with stuff that we talk about and a lot of the questions that come up and things that we are always trying to uncover, and hearing it from you who you are like in the field doing it every day, and you're looking for stuff that's not, you know, what everybody else is doing, which offers so much more opportunity to all the other artists, is super amazing. And so let's dive into some songs. Let me pull up. So what I'll do is I'll just like give you the link here in the chat, and then you can listen to it on your end so you get the best audio.
Cool.
So this song is by Tobias, and it's called You and I. And yeah, just listen to the beginning. We want honest, real feedback.
Cool. All right. So now I guess I can listen normally, or I can even normally we kind of skip through tracks, which I know is probably super cruel.
Yeah, exactly. As you totally skip through it, do it as you.
Come on now, give me that smile again. You know the one from way back when. Don't hide from me. It's what I wanna see. Rain or shine, I'm here for you. When I feel down, your voice comes through. I know that you're near. So good when you're here. Oh, oh, oh. You and I are good together. Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, I mean, this is a track that I think, I mean, it's a very well produced track. It's kind of checking, I think, a lot of the boxes that I think we, probably earlier was always looking for with this stuff. Like, this would have been great for General Mills and Nature Valley and things like that. I think this is probably one of the ones where if this was some old, weirder track, it'd work, but now it feels too much for ads. I mean, I think the lyrics are saying everything. I know it sounds weird. You're doing it too right, but I think we want to, I thought someone else was saying it in a question about, well, how do you find you and do ads at the same time? And I think it's do what you think a great song is, whatever your style is, or you're blending. I always tell a lot of music houses, like, put a punk rock guy with an electronic guy, because they'll do something, they'll get outside their comfort zones and do something that they wouldn't normally do.
Right.
And then for lyrics, I think when I say be you, I think the great thing in every song is writing about a universal truth that's kind of, that everyone can relate to. So it's that. And by being Addy, it's just, keep language clean. And it is a tough one when you talk about some of these things, because it's, hey, be general, but don't be too general where it sounds cold. So I realize that some of the things I'm saying are kind of contradictory. So yeah, I think this one to me feels a bit, kind of like I was saying, a bit too polished and Addy. And also makes sense with this song. It just sounds very much like those songs that I would be looking for a little bit ago.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I think that's right on.
But if you're looking at a checklist, it's got tempo, it's got lyrics, it's hooky, it does all the right things, but I think it's almost too formulaic, which is that's frustrating.
No, I think that's really good, because I something that we talk about is like, what are the different things that work, but then how can you bring who you are as an artist and find that, like, it's not just a formula. It takes a little bit of time, and it's not just like overnight, great, now I'm writing for sync. It's like, it's blood, sweat, and tears to get there. Right.
And I think, that true artist has to always come out, because like that sounds like an ad, right? Which sounds good, but I think it's, like I said, we don't like stuff that already sounds like ads. We like stuff that sounds a little, interesting. I think most of the songs is, you really want them to be songs, we say Shazamable, whatever, like a song that you would want on your iPod and share and all that. And not that this isn't that, but I think it's, it just sounds like something of, vintage.
That makes so much sense. Tobias says, thanks so much for the feedback. He was a nerd ground. He's writing you there. Okay, next song is from Tamara, and it's called Hazmat. I'll just put it in there.
Oops. Oh, someone asked about samples. I still don't have that link yet. Or is it just added to the box link?
Oh, I just added it to the bottom there. Oh, wait. No, sorry. I added it.
By samples, I mean like someone sampling, like, I love Jay Dilla, but tough to use a Jay Dilla song because of all his samples. So I think when I was saying samples, I just mean you're not sampling the Beatles in there. There's been times when shady managers will send songs hoping that no one hears, no one will notice the sample. And that's a very tough situation if someone tries to hide it. So that's what I meant by samples. So I'm assuming if you're using looped samples or samples from Logic or whatever it is, that those are totally free and clear to use.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
You're now tuned into the sounds of Max Arsenal.
Yo, you ain't really ready. You know what I have to do to you? Level out that. Safety first, so I secure the bag. Took insurance out, they still took me like half life. Pay that gold for exposure, right? On my chumney out. Oh, you ain't no street fighter like Chinese food. I heard bills are better, so I hit him with a hot kick. Instead of giving them high fives, and I ain't gon' hide this. Yo, I'm low key, but the boss ain't shot. I better hit list, want it dead or alive, cause I spit quick, yeah, I flip quick, harder than any triggers do, and make heads harder than any eight group that flip brick, harder than dudes and boys that did bits and run all months. Like, oh, I think the bubble cloud back, but you cannot figure me, you cannot figure me out. Stay step near me, your heart pounds, these sounds like, whoa, I'ma make it fall, I'ma make it fall, and I'ma make it fall, believe that like you breathe. Screaming
Yeah, it's cool. It's got swagger. It's yeah. I mean, I couldn't hear it. The lyrics are pretty quick, so it's tough for me to hear all the lyrics in there. Hip hop for me, usually there's I think two genres. You don't kind of as a general thing, not specific to this. You probably don't hear a lot in or as much in advertising, and probably hip hop, like 3 country and reggae. Hip hop is often, to be honest, it's a pain in the ass to clear because of samples. This is probably not the case. Or because of lyrical content, which this one doesn't sound like it's a problem at all. And then samples clearing, there's like 13, I cleared Jidena for Google, and there's like 13 writers, and we're still dealing with paperwork. Country, often lyrics are too specific. Like I think the great part about country is storytelling, but it's that one girl with those jeans and, 98 and that red truck license plate, 2 for whatever it is. So if it's too specific, it's probably not going to line up with our story. And to be honest, the people who make ads are usually in New York and LA, some Chicago. Not the biggest country music, so it's kind of shitty to hear because it's the most popular genre in the country, but just not in ads. And then reggae, similar to, it's kind of almost like the initial hip hop where just clearing rights for a lot of reggae is just handshakes and not easy. So the general thing about hip hop, this song, yeah, it's cool to me personally. That the guitar, to me it feels a little like trying to figure out if it's trying to go like super edgy or stay sync friendly. Like there's some like more pop elements and some more like the piano is kind of cool and dark, and then the guitar is light. So I mean, I know it's saying blend elements is interesting. Here, it feels a little indecisive in a way. If that makes sense. I mean, that one I don't know about for an ad, maybe for TV or film. I just don't know what lyrics Hazmat would work for an ad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's great. No, that's really good. Tomorrow's on here. She's muted, but she can unmute herself if she wants to say something. Next we have Gil. I think Can't Break Me.
All right.
Tomorrow, are you? I can tell if she's on.
Wait, it's the same one. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
And also about hip hop, that's like the magic of Kanye. It's like I was talking about licensing these old gems. It's fun listening to Kanye. It's like, oh shit, Sister Nancy was Bomb Bomb, and like seeing he digs into. He's just such a student of music, and just finding weird things and putting them together is kind of his magic. Like Ultra Light Beam, I think that was. I don't know how that wasn't the best song of the year. He got snubbed in the Grammys, regardless of your opinions of Kanye. And I don't know if he's a good person. I don't want to be his friend, but I'm totally down to listen to his music. Because it's just interesting, and that was gospel with electronic, and I think it was just super, really, just awesome, and a great example of making gospel modern and being minimal and cool. And here it's
coming at your speed of light, not going down without a fight. Truth or dare, make your bet. Going live without a net. Let the sky solar flare. Keep raining down everywhere. Sometimes the world is gonna shake and the bake. Yeah, mess with me, that's a mistake. Can't break me. Can't break me. Can't break me. Can't break me. bring. Ain't nothing but a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. There's like the kind of production on that bass is interesting. You can almost even work on it, make it even. I'm always weird. I'm always say like the weirder stuff. I think at Droga, this track would be, I think, a little tougher because it's a little too on the nose. It feels, I'd say, slightly addy. I think. I mean, it feels fits in the tantrumsy in a way. Like there's some elements in there for sure. I wouldn't fly at Droga. I think for other ads, maybe. I mean, it's definitely hitting that swagger word that everyone either sick of or just always sees. That's why we probably try and avoid. I know it's like, yeah, I try to avoid that kind of blues rock thingy because it's been done so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does it well. I think one thing I noticed, and I think on that first track in this, is that a lot of stuff that's, I think, made very much with advertisements in mind. Its lyrics and vocals are very, very up front. And I think it almost stuck them back in the mix a little bit because it overtakes a bit, I think. And I think a lot of times, a lot of ads don't have room for vocals. A lot are instrumentals. I think everyone's favorite ones are when the song is in the forefront, which is what I'm fortunate that a lot of my clients kind of let me do that, and my creatives fight to have music drive as opposed to VO. But I think lyricless vocals or songs that can work without vocals or with just a chorus are really important. So the way to do that is to have it, it's an intro, it builds 10 seconds, the song kicks in, the drums kick in, and then it goes for 5 seconds, and then it goes up a fifth or whatever, and then you hit the chorus and have that crescendo. So I think it's having those tiered sections are good, and I think a good way to think about it is, will it work as an instrumental? And that's, I think that can be tough for hip-hop, is because usually there might be VO or whatever, unless the verse is all on kind of point for the brief, and then come in with a chorus, and even for rock songs or anything else. So can it work as an instrumental? And then we can add lyrics, if not.
Yeah.
But I think having stuff that is tiered, and that is kind of a general formula. I mean, for L'Oreal Beauty, it's glamorous, shimmering, what can this magic product be? 10 seconds, it's the product. And then it's people with flowing hair in slow motion for 10 seconds. And then it goes back to the product and the cell at the end. So it's intro, kick in, and then crescendo out.
Yeah.
But I think if it works as an instrumental, that's usually, it's a good thing. That means there's enough modulation or builds. And of course, they're not all like that. None of my CoverGirl ads are like that, but L'Oreal was for sure had a formula. And I think a lot of ads, it's a 3-tiered build. It's just enough of a modulation. We like songs that can work. Especially for 60, we really need some parts to play with. 30 is kind of easier. 60, you need that bridge to work. You need something else you can kind of edit in.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. We break down songs and we look at, what are the different parts. One part just normally doesn't work. You need these different sections, and all the sections need to work and help each other get the picture across. So that breaking it down like that for everybody is really super helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one is by Struck, and it's called Made Together.
All right. What is the average? Commercials are usually 30s and 60s. That's like the standard. There's some 15s, but it's really 30s or 60s, or we do a lot of long forms online that are 90 or 2 minutes. But on TV, if you think about commercials, most of them are 30 or 60s. There's a lot of 15s. 15s are there. They're the short ones that usually annoy people. For music, it's really hard, right? Because you have to come in, establish something, then build crescendo out in 15 seconds. No one likes doing 15s. You just kind of have to. But those are often called bumpers for online. That we'll see a lot, but they come around. 30s and 60s are 30s being the majority of what you see, and there also are some 60s. All right.
From the 1, 2, 3, Just as A through Z, we were made to be together. We were made to be, we were made to be together. We were made to be, we were made to be together. One of a kind, plus one of a kind equals a crazy time when it's two combined. Now check it, each one alone is a single heart. This air, but we're together with a single heart. Oh man, it's pure respect when each side connects. One side went in, going in, coming through. In the 1, 2, 3, just as A through Z, we were made to be together.
I think this one, it actually kind of started out interesting, and then it just kind of stayed there, a bit flat. Like I don't think this one would work as an instrumental. And again, the vocals are so hot in this mix. I think it's just one needs to develop a bit. I mean, made to be together is a good theme for advertising often. Yeah, it's Jones. Trying to how it's.
We were made to be together.
Yeah, it just needs some more elements. It needs more movement and change, and maybe is there a double?
We were made to be. We were made to be.
Yeah, it's just some other colors in there, I think.
That makes sense. I mean, I think that's the feedback that we give back a lot, is that just needs more development in that. So thank you. And here is the last one. I know we're running short on time, so I'm just.
Ooh, I can't. So now I'm gonna be super. I can't open Dropbox. I should have said that earlier. I'll have to have my IT guys. I'll have to send it to IT to have them Dropbox retransfer. If you want to email it to me as just an attachment at Gmail. Also, normally attachments aren't cool, but this time it's fine. This is a weird. I think we're the only agency we just can't open. We transfer a Dropbox. You have to send it to IT to download. Blah blah blah.
I'll just send you another one.
Yeah, box is fine.
Okay. I'm gonna send you. So is Lauren on here? Why doesn't she post her song? Because I know that she was on the list originally. Lauren. She here or is she gone? You can email it if you want. No, I don't think there's enough time for you to email it. So let's just move on, and we'll share yours next time. So here, I'll share Jesse Jordan. Here we go.
I'm not the kind of girl that likes a little bit. No, I'm that kind of girl that wants all of it, all of it. So don't try to hold back, give me that whole stack, filling up my backpack with that slack. Gimme, 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 gimme. I want more of what you got in store. I want more. I want more. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I want more. People try to tell me to be satisfied.
Funny, it's actually almost
I'm the kind of girl that needs more in life.
It starts out almost like a PC music track. I don't know if you guys know PC music or not. It's kind of weird. I thought it was gonna blow up. I was kind of bummed it didn't.
More in life. So stop trying to hold back. Give me that whole stack. Fill up the backpack. Cause I need that. Gimme, 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 gimme. I want more of what you got in store. I want more. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I want more.
There's some interesting things in here. Like I think
People try to tell me to be satisfied, but I'm
kind of a funky track. It starts out hip hop and then goes into kind of like an addy rock chorus that I would probably put in like a retail playlist. Like I basically just have playlists. I save every search from every job from every client since I've started, and I have and then I have buckets and buckets of general playlists, like literally 1,000 songs about body parts, song Bollywood, Brazil, breaking the rules, California, soul, cheer up, swagger, classical, colors, come back, come together.
That's good insight right there.
So like I'm like earmark anytime, like, hey, this song, so many times you hear a song, oh, this would be great for that one scene if this one, or if there's a guy on a rowboat or whatever, like I have a playlist probably for that. And there could be one song on a playlist, or it could be like 600 songs in it for uplifting instrumental. And so they kind of, and this
kind of girl that needs
I mean, I guess the one thing I can say that I'm seeing a lot of these, and sorry, I guess when producing your sounds, I guess trying to, for just trying how to just try and really tweak them and make them your own sound, so not all the distortions sound the same, which is easier said than done, for how you kind of EQ everything to kind of make them a bit more unique to you. I mean, that's always a difficult thing as an artist, is to be writing the same song, just how you make it your own. So this one it's interesting to kind of blend the genres. The chorus, the lyrics are great for ads, also feels a bit addy. But then again, I probably would have pitched it for Coles and it would have went. So it's just not right for me at Droga, but not totally off for the world.
Right. Such good feedback. I feel like, really speaking to the artists here and how they're, trying to go after being authentic and still staying really true and having opportunity. And I really appreciate that. Last question here, something that comes up all the time. People ask, can I just write like a 30-second? Why do I have to write the whole song? And what are your thoughts about, do they really need to write that whole song?
Well, I think that'll all go back to that authenticity thing.
Yeah.
That's where I think you probably get that authenticity, is that you want it to be a real song, and sometimes clients honestly won't even use songs if it is just 30 seconds. They want it to be a real song and a real artist. So on the few times when we do create songs for ads, which we do a lot, usually we want to make sure that it can exist on its own as a real song. So although, there are those intros, like it's good to have an instrumental ready for your songs. It's definitely preferred. If I see a bunch of 30-second songs just as I'm going through new music, I'll be like, what is this?
Be invested. I mean, you go on the journey with it. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, we are over time, so I'm going to let you go. And I really, really appreciate you taking the time to listen to the songs and give your insight. And I know that you are working on so many amazing things, and we're really lucky to have your real life feedback here.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Sorry for that. And it's Droga is definitely a unique place in terms of what we look for. So I find that when I do these things on panels, usually what I'm looking for personally is quite different than what I think a lot of other agencies look for. So it's just stuff for I think me personally at this agency, what my demands are. But thank you, everyone. I know it's not easy just playing your stuff and getting quick feedback like that. So thank you guys, and just keep listening to more music. If you're a rock guy, listen to some other stuff. That's the kind of beauty and curse of Spotify, is that you can hear everything. So pick and choose your stuff. James Murphy, you can hear all of his influences, but the way he meshes them together, an LCD sound system, or why it's interesting and fun. So
that's a great note too. Thank you. All right. See you guys all soon, and thank you so much. Have a great rest of the week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.